Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of On the Same Page, Lord Up with Friends. Today I'm joined by someone who I've played in a lot of games with at this point, mostly me running them because I just keep asking my friends to play games with me because why wouldn't I? Um, they are a ttrpg writer. They are on Tabletop Tiddies as one of the regular cast members, and when they're not there, they're usually on my channel. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Casper?
OCO, everybody. I am Casper the NB Ghost. I am a Black Cherokee neurodivergent sapphic writer of sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and that plays and produces tabletop RPGs as well as other things. Um, yeah, that was the short version.
Yeah, I feel like we've done this before. I don't know. It's
Maybe.
vague recollection. Um, but yeah, I am slowly just getting my friends to start these episodes. So why not have you on here? I literally am interviewing you and Javante in the same day because it just works. But yeah, so let's just get into it. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about like how long you've been playing tabletops and how that evolved into like where you're at now with all the APs and stuff that you do.
Okay. So how long have I been playing? I got into it when I first moved to Korea.
Mhm.
So no, I moved to Korea, and I did it to make friends. This was uh, 2016, 2017, around then. After high school, I got into it late. Um, because in high school I was just the type of nerd that did drama and band and
No, yeah, I mean,
ROTC,
I get
all
that.
of
I
the
didn't
stuff.
start playing until 19, and that's because when I was in school, I was the nerd who tried to be, a man and play as many sports as I could instead. So yeah, I get it,
Yay,
bestie.
sports. Yeah, but no, I got into it late and I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt. Like if time travel was a thing, I would have gotten to it a lot sooner.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, how I got into actual plays and everything. Because first I played in person. My first game ever was Blades in the Dark,
Ooh, nice.
and uh, yeah, that's it. And then like my second game was Burning Wheel. So yeah, I
Okay.
went with chunky systems very early,
I'm just
and I'm
like
like,
fuck D&D. I'm just gonna play these random ass systems first.
I did that on purpose though, because like, so my thing is like I can be a nerd, but I don't want to be that nerd. So like, I didn't want to be that card. I didn't want to get into card games and play like Magic the Gathering. No offense, love you.
Wow,
Um,
wow.
yes, Magic the Gathering was
Yeah, I got into
the
Yu-Gi-Oh way before Magic the Gathering. So.
see Yu-Gi-Oh was acceptable because it was like popular. There was an anime about it. Yu-Gi-Oh,
Hmm.
Pokemon, they were like in my brain cool at the time.
Hmm.
Um, but like I also got into board games, but I didn't want to play Settlers of Catan. I played Settlers of Catan. There was a good reason why I never want to play it again. I do not like that game.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
um, but like now the reason, and like when I got into tabletop stuff, I didn't want to get into D&D because I didn't want to be that guy. But I got over myself because D&D is amazing. Love the
Hmm.
system. Well, 5e is amazing because that's
Yeah,
the one I
we
was
don't we
using.
don't talk about before 5e. Like I know
Yeah,
people love 3.5, but I looked at it and I'm like, no, not for me.
I don't like super chunky systems
Yeah, I know.
because
I ran Starfighter for you. We had to help. We had to do a lot of help to get you.
yeah, I don't like super chunky system
Yeah.
wayfinding. And I also find that I like more character driven stuff. So
Mm.
my favorite system is world uh, it's not World of Darkness.
The storyteller system,
Yeah, it's the storyteller system or Monster of the Week. That
powered
one.
by the apocalypse.
Power by
Yep,
Apocalypse.
that's
So like
literally why
World.
I've pulled aspects of both for my own game because I love the
Yeah.
RP aspects more than like the clunkiness.
Yeah, I don't like clunky systems. And Powered by the Apocalypse, they're nice and give you like limited choices.
Hmm.
It's like you've got this character sheet, this is what you can do.
Yeah, and
And
if you've run one of them, you can run literally any system. Because I ran
freaking
Monster Hearts the first time and looked at the book like for 5 minutes and then ran a game of it. It's not hard to pick
yeah,
up.
Monster Hearts was my third one. And I was like, oh, they don't have to be complicated. What is this?
Right?
So I do like the character building aspect of Burning Wheel. Like how you can choose just random different paths. I
Mm-hmm.
love that. Not a lot of people have the patience for it though. Um, and then like actually playing Burning Wheel was like, wait, I'm a pirate. Why can't I do this thing that pirates should be able to do? Like the frick, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I have my issues with that. But getting back to this, like how I got into actual plays, I found like I was just getting into Critical Role and stuff like that, and I wanted to start from the beginning. Um, so I was watching campaign. I got like halfway through campaign one. I got through the Briarwood arc of campaign one. That's not even halfway. And I'm like, okay, they're making an animated show. Bet. Okay, fine. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
I've been
watch the
debating
animated
watching the
show.
anime show because I could never finish one of the campaigns. Like, I love Mercer and all them, and they're great at what they do. It's too serious for me. I really just
They
can't focus for 5 hours on a serious drama-esque show.
they have 4 hour episodes on average, and
Yep.
they have over 100 something episodes per campaign.
Yeah, this is why I
I
do Dimension 20. At most, it's a 20 episode campaign, and at most, it's 2 or 2.5 hours. And that's usually for finales.
Yeah. So, but I got into Critical Role because I wanted to dive into the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw a casting call for a channel called Tabletop Tiddies. And I was like, yes. They like I played a audition game with them, and
Mm-hmm.
we got on like a house on fire. They're very sweet over there. And then like I just been hunting down casting calls ever since,
Yep.
saying yes to as many as I can. Now I'm getting back into it because I had to take a break there because I was moving and
Yeah.
life happened. Um, but yeah, now yeah, it's just like a great way to meet people. So there, it's I like, yeah, this is
Mm-hmm.
why I'm into tabletops and stuff.
I mean, that's how we met. You were in my first ever AP over on the initiative order. What was that shit, like 3 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Damn, feels like it's not been that long. Um,
I know.
yeah, you turned my detective game into a fucking telenovela.
I didn't do it alone.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Well, don't worry. Once I have Aurora and Amber on here, I'm gonna call them out too. But
yeah, no, we didn't do that alone. And also, yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna say that. You put us together, and you said that they both could be Persephone, and I'm just gonna be Cerberus. It's like, all right, well,
hey, I just go with the choices like any good GM does. Okay,
that's fair.
I let you guys do whatever chaos you want to do. I get you to the end somehow.
That's fair. I will say, when you played that villain, Amber's ex, hashtag spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly wanted to come through the screen and stab you. Like it
Good.
was, oh my
I
god, you
love
were
playing
dead.
villains like that because it's so easy to do that because I knew people like that in my job and growing up. It's very easy to play just like a normal guy who thinks he's the shit and is an asshole. It's not hard to slip into that, unfortunately. I just call up all that old masculinity I used to have. I just
All that
rechannel.
toxic masculinity.
I rechannel that mask I wore for fucking 31 years.
Holy shit, that's so good though.
Oh yeah.
Nah, but yeah, no. And then you mentioned Javante. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just met so many amazing people, through tabletop,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm trying to expand my network, but like I absolutely love playing with Javante because he sent me to hell.
Yeah, I remember that. I
Amber,
remember that game.
yeah, Amber. We did some Danny Phantom monster fighting.
Yeah, I didn't
Which
get to
was,
flirt with you enough in that game because I got emotionally damaged.
yeah, you
I was
dealt
not
with,
prepared for that.
you got hurt. It's
It
fine.
made me
Uh,
cry mid episode. Like I fucking turned my mic off.
yeah, that one got really, like, they were not pulling punches in that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then Aurora also DM'd for me.
Ooh.
Um and I think the only time I ever like story led for you and Amber was when we played Women Are Werewolves. So
Yes, that was fun.
that was fun. We
You
should
need
do
to
that
you
again.
need to GM for me more. What the fuck?
I'm working on it.
Do it. I GM too
Busy.
much. I need to play.
You you are always busy. Like, oh, I
Because I
would, but
want
I
to
have
run all the
16,000
games in the
games.
universe like my thing says, which means I gotta keep running games.
To be fair, I keep sending you just like, oh, hey, this is an interesting game that I found.
Yeah,
I keep,
and then they get added to my list, and then I'm never gonna empty that list. It's fine.
yeah,
Oh
but
man.
yeah,
But yeah, so I know you've played a lot of systems at this point, besides just D&D and even some of the Pathfinder stuff. Is there a system out there yet that you're still looking at that like you haven't played that you have in mind to either run or be in at some point?
I, yeah. Okay, so there's two. I was supposed to be in an alien game, but like
Ooh,
my
aliens,
work
aliens,
schedule kind
aliens,
of
so
bit me
much
in the
fun.
butt. And with Alien Romulus coming out, and they're like, I only keep hearing good things about this. I'm like, I want to play Alien. But I was also thinking about it, and I have a campaign in my head um, for an Avatar Legends,
Another
and
great game.
every time I build a character for that,
That's
the
the
game
I have
just
I have the Avatar dice set. I mean, I'm
I
ready.
do
I
too.
will
I
play.
have a
I will make an Earthbender right now. Don't tempt
like
me.
like I have a really good idea for a campaign, but I want to play it just so I can see how someone else would DM it
hmm
um before I get into it, because that's how I like to
Yeah,
do
I
games.
can
Is
really
like
run you. I can run you a one shot of it at some point when I have some
that would
free
be
time here.
fantastic
And
because
once I do all these sessions areas I have next week, and know what my schedule actually is going to look like the next few months.
yeah, no, that'd be great because like I do like playing first and being like, okay, so
hmm
this is what I can do as a player.
Yeah,
What kind of obstacles can I put in the in the player's way as a GM to make it
yeah.
interesting for them?
It's a pretty flexible system. The combat's almost like rock paper scissors with the whole attack, defend, evade stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
then on top of that, like the one thing I didn't really get to explore when I ran it as a one shot, because run as a one shot doesn't leave the room to it. But that
Yeah.
whole balance mechanic between the two dominant personality traits that they have, it's kind of how Mass does with the labels, where you're kind of pushing and pulling them to drive the character. So there's a lot of like depth to that and being able to really play with it. And I think if you go completely one way, you switch playbooks, I want to say
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, it's a really flexible system.
Yeah, I keep looking at it and I really like my idea. I'm not gonna say what it is because I'm very protective of it.
And because I'm probably most likely going to sign up for it.
Yeah. But yeah, right now I'm trying to build like do I'm trying to go back on all the things that I've done.
hmm
Because I like adapting movies that I love into either little one shots or mini campaigns.
Yeah.
Um, I've got a Nightmare Before Christmas one because that's my favorite movie. I've got a Casper the Friendly Ghost one
What? No way. Really?
because that's where I got my
If you do
name.
that, I'm playing Wendy. I'm gonna make a little witch girl.
Yeah, that one's a Monster of the Week one, so I don't
There's a
know.
witch playbook. It's fine. I
There you
got
go.
this.
Um, and then I've also got a 13 Ghosts Monster of the Week campaign that I'm very proud of.
That's an underrated movie.
One of these days,
I've
I
seen
will
it a
run
few
it to
times.
completion.
It's such a good movie.
It is, but like I don't go. It's like a prequel to the movie
hmm
where you play ghost hunters, like going out and catching each one of the ghosts.
And putting them in the house.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So yeah, like I kind of got halfway through it with uh Cybernation Uncensored when I was over there. But then schedules changed and we never really could pick it back up.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
I'm I want to finish that one. Uh, so
It happens. I feel like you get back to it. I bet you're just getting back in your scheduling and stuff now that you're settled. So I'm sure you'll start to adapt it. Like I've just started sitting down and doing my schedule now that I'm trying to change how my content is a little bit, and it's a lot, but I'm slowly getting it mapped out. Because
Yeah.
I want to do as much as I possibly can fit into every hour of the day.
You do need to sleep sometimes.
No, I don't. That's what these are for.
Terrible. Just straight up sleep when you're drinking Ghost, really.
Yep, I had to. You're here. I had to stay on brand.
There we go. I like how my brand is just Ghost and
Ghost
Werewolf
and
if you know
werewolves.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never ran a game for you where you've played multiple wolves characters, and I think I even had you as a ghost once when I in the horror game. So yeah, it tracks.
I play Ghosts and I play Werewolves. I've expanded
And I
beyond
totally
just
don't
werewolves.
have a werewolf plan for you soon. The game to be announced later, but yeah, it's just a brand for you at this point.
Would you believe I've never played Werewolf?
I mean, you technically still won't be playing werewolf in the game we have planned. You're playing the whole fucking storyteller system at some point at this point. But
Yeah,
yeah.
but no, I've never played a game of Werewolf. And I mean, I have the book, Werewolf of the Apocalypse or whatever the heck it's called, and
Mm-hmm.
I've never played it. I've
It's a
cracked
it's
open the
a
book, I've
it's a
looked at
very
it, and I'm like,
involved system though, so it's hard to just like run something small for it. You almost
mm,
need to run like a mini campaign or at least a few one shots of it.
okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of lore in that book. I haven't even read a lot of the lore for it, which I need to, so that our idea is not just mostly focused on the vampire people.
Fair.
I need to start looking at plan stuff for that because there's a lot. There's a whole system to that too. So
Yeah, I played Vampire the Masquerade and I played the most werewolf
you played a game girl,
vampire.
didn't you?
Yes, I
Of
did.
fucking course you did. Like,
I
I'm gonna play a wolf vampire. Fuck you guys.
Yep. His name was Belgium Jerry. He's retired now. He was also the very first character I've ever retired, but because I played him for like 2 years. Um, yeah, he was a drunk boxer who got turned at Oktoberfest.
You know what? That literally sounds like something that could happen to you in real life. Knowing who you are. That's perfect.
Yeah, no, except for the fact that I don't drink. Yeah, I had so much fun.
Yeah, but I see you just going out to some type of party type situation and ended up turned into something.
Yeah, no, I'll go to a party and end up being like, how did this happen? Like,
Yeah, that's how it usually goes, though, to be fair. But yeah, you also I know you're also a writer. Is there anything that you're close to with like releasing, or is it have any like ideas in the future that you're trying to like figure out how to put together?
yeah, so the past couple days, well, couple week, couple months past time, I've been working on a couple of actual like board games. So
Mm-hmm.
there is and like a card game, maybe, and a dice game. I got a card game, a board game, and a dice game.
Oh yeah.
The card game is musically a musical game called Top the Charts, where it's just a musical guessing game. You
Oh,
pick up a genre.
I've played that one.
Um, you pick up you pick up a genre card and you like assign it value, and then the other players have to guess it based off of how they know you. Um, and the values are 0 to 4, and you have to do it for each category, which is melody, harmony, bass, rhythm, and lyrics. And yeah, I finished designing everything. I finished writing out the rules. I play tested that one. Right now, I'm just trying to save up enough money um, to get a prototype so I can like pitch it to companies
Mm-hmm.
or get it ready for like a Kickstarter or something. Um, that's the one that's like I was telling you before that I'm about to pitch a game. That's the one that I'm pitching at this workshop that's going to help me um hopefully win 3K so I can do like a small run and then
Dope.
like have it out there.
Oh yeah.
And then I've got like a movie maker dice roller game where you basically just go through very broad steps of making a movie by rolling d6s, and then you uh look at it via the box office, and if your movie is like mostly the same as the box office scores, then you made a hit. If your movies are exactly the same as the box office scores, you have a blockbuster. And if none of them match, then you have a flop. So, and then you incur debt and stuff like that. I'm working out the rules on that one.
Mhm.
And then the board game was based off of my current job. It's a pizza delivery board game, which turns out there is not one. I've looked. There are
Hmm.
Monopoly type ones, but this one is like basically you just roll a die, you hit a mark, you pull like you take a card and you're trying to collect as many cards and tips as possible. Whoever has the most tips wins.
Hmm. Sounds interesting.
Yeah. I don't have a name for that one or the movie maker engine machine one either.
Yeah, names are always the harder part.
Yeah.
Someone who never has NPC names most of the time before they come up. I think the one exception was the fucking Daggerheart campaign. It's like, okay, this is a political game. I kind of need to map out people's names ahead of time.
Yeah. Who's named what? What?
Yeah, I need
Why
to know
am I fighting this?
who's important, why are they important. I need to know all this information. So that helped me a lot. I might need to start actually doing that for my campaigns because that saved me so much time during the episodes. But
At least
I
name
probably
the
won't.
important people we're supposed to be meeting. That's how I go about it. But if
You
it's
know,
like it's like nurse number 3, it's like I don't
I feel
know.
like
What do you
it
name
just feel like
them?
it just depends on the game. If it's a political game, I feel like you kind of have to.
Yeah.
If it's something that's more chaotic, like I don't know where the party's gonna go to be crafting up NPCs. So
Yeah.
I mean, most NPCs you ran into in the Starfighter game for a Weird Frontier were made up on this fucking spot. Because,
Oh,
like,
really? Ruff
yeah.
was made up on the spot? Never would have guessed that one.
Listen here, okay? They are adorable.
He was a jerk.
I don't know what you mean. Ruff was great. He's such a great guy.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Sure.
My favorite person from that game is still the little Chihuahua mechanic. I forget their name, but he was adorable. And
Yes.
we were actually talking about potentially having Anita run some of it, and then me coming on to play the
That'd
Chihuahua.
be fun.
But
That'd be
we'll
amazing.
eventually get back to that campaign. I did leave you guys on a pretty big fucking cliffhanger. And the
Yeah.
party's split right now. Like half of you are somewhere, and the other half split somewhere else with my DMPC that I just had thrown in there at the end.
Yep.
It'll be fine. I think it's like all the androids are on one chip, and everyone else is on the other. You and your little
Me and my
fresh
girlfriend.
romance, yeah. Your girlfriend and your best friend. Perfect.
Yep. Girlfriend and my
It's like a
best friend.
fucking sitcom on that one, and then on the other
That'll be
one,
fun.
it's another two best friends, and then that's spouses. So,
Yes.
like when we get back to that, the first few episodes are gonna be very chaotic, but also a lot of drama. So it'll be great.
Absolutely.
I
We're
mean,
here for the drama.
I finally broke Gus in that game, so that was like the biggest accomplishment the whole campaign. He was very hard to get an actual reaction from. But like, I think he was like completely fucking speechless when I did his backstory. He was just like, like it was great. Because making him cry is gonna be hard, but just getting a reaction like that out of him was great.
That was amazing. I also like how you um basically it's like you're totally down whenever you GM for it to be like,
Hmm.
all right, DM, take the wheel. And then you make it interesting. You're not like, okay, well,
Yeah.
you were a mechanic in your past life. Boom.
No, if you give me freedom, I'm gonna blend in the story and make it good. That's how I like to do my world building. Like I don't flesh out a world fully until I actually start playing the game. Like I will get a framework of how the world works, but a lot of the in between stuff will just get fully fleshed out through your guys' backstory as we play. Um, but a lot of the android stuff got fleshed out between Isabel and Gus as they were going along.
That makes sense.
A lot of like your military stuff got fleshed out as we went along, as I started mapping out some of how that stuff worked. Even the corporate stuff, where I think I gave me and Isabel PTSD with that whole scene
Oh
with
yeah.
Rose's character. But yeah, if it's a corporate game, I'm gonna play the most vile shit because that's usually like my bosses. So
Yeah.
So yeah. But I think anyway, it's probably about time to get to the second half of our show, the new segment for this podcast specifically, a lore dump. So, Casper, out of any one thing, what do you want to lore dump about today?
Well, let's see. What do I want to lore dump about
I don't know
tonight?
why I asked. Some of the
uh,
people on this show is going to be very indicate. It's going to be very easy to know what they're going to lore dump about, and Casper is definitely one of them.
yeah, look, if you know that meme that says if you have a gun to your head and you have to talk for like an hour about one thing,
Mm.
mine's gonna be werewolves because I did a lot of research on them. Um,
Okay, I'm not mean going
so
to title this episode "Howl at the Moon" with Casper.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so my lore, I wrote a web series back a while ago that I turned into a podcast called Howl the Podcast. In that podcast, I built kind of my own mythology and werewolf situation. So, there are four different types of werewolves, and on the other side of that, there's also hunters. There are two different types of hunters, and this is very heavily inspired by Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Egyptian mythology. Um, I took a lot of mythologies and I
Yeah,
kind of put them
we
together.
get it, Casper. You're gay. You can continue.
Rude. Um, so, um, in this world, you can be born a werewolf, a loup-garou, who is descendant of Leprecha and all of that. It's Romulus and Remus, basically, that ties back into them. You can be bitten, which is a lycanthrope, and that one's treated more like a viral situation. You can be blessed with a werewolf, which you reach some form of wolfy enlightenment, and you are gifted by a deity, um, the spirit of a wolf, or you can sell your soul and become a hellhound, um, which is what our bad guys do. And then on the other side of that, there are descendants of Orion, who is the great hunter, and then followers of Orion, because Orion led a secret war to to rid the world of werewolves, not seeing a real difference between good werewolves and bad werewolves. It's just everybody got to go.
Hmm.
And so that kind of transformed over the years into a monster hunting sorority called the Delta Omega Alphas, or the DOA, which um, is prominent in this tiny, well, it's not really tiny, it's just locked away from the rest of the world, city of London, because the werewolves of London.
Of course.
And then there's Talbot University, because the in the original Wolfman, the surname of the family is Talbot. Um, so yeah, I just pulled out all the Easter eggs for these things. And yeah, uh, from there, I the bad guys are basically the three heads of Cerberus, which is Anubis, Fenris, and the Lost Ones, or like it's a South American myth about like these children that call women and children into the woods, and once you
Hmm.
go into the woods and follow the this voice, you're never heard from again.
So like the
I thought
Fae.
that was
So some Fae bullshit. Got it.
yeah, I thought that was freaking terrifying. So I'm like, yeah, well,
Yeah, I
they're
mean, it
also going to
usually
be a thing.
that kind of stuff usually is.
Yeah. Those are the three heads of Cerberus, and they're trying to
Hmm.
bring about the end of the world, or the end of humankind. And Yeah, in the podcast, you follow this girl Kenny, um, who is basically a self-insert of me back in high school, because that's when I first came up with this idea. And as she tries to navigate like this weird ass school she's in, this new secret society that she's trying, like she kind of got looped into because of reasons. And then like this cute girl who she's really interested in who happens to be a fucking werewolf. Um, and yeah, all of this came about because of my love of werewolves and my best friend asking me, "What would you do if your girlfriend was a werewolf?" And I like,
Celebrate.
yeah, I went so far down the werewolf rabbit hole that I came out the other side. I'm like, well, basically, I would support her and everything that she does. Um, yeah, beyond that, I also moved on to shifters, not just werewolves, but mermaids. So
Hmm.
yeah, from this world, they're like in an expanse of this world. In another part of it, is um a Selkie who is stranded on land after trying to find her pelt. That Selkies are from Celtic mythology. Um, they are seals that can turn into women. And uh, I've got three different types of creatures that kind of hunt like that. Um, there are Selkies, Sirens, and Scyllas. Scylla is a back from Greek mythology.
Mhm.
She was a giant monster with like six heads.
Yeah, I saw her on
And
Hades too. Fuck her.
yeah, she like creates whirlpools or whatever. I treat her more as an Ursula kind of creature. Like
Ooh, I
each
love
one of
that.
these have like a siren song that or a glamour or some type of illusion magic that helps them protect themselves and
Hmm.
lure people to their deaths. Um Selkies are the only ones who can like walk around on land. Um Sirens can do it, but it's very, very temporary. And they're the more mermaid kind of creature. It's kind of like a mix of it's not even really a mix. It's just like Pirates of the Caribbean
Hmm.
um mermaids, but like I like to think of them as like when they're beautiful, it's more like they give off
That's the. I'm gonna spiral if I don't think that's the Pirates of the Caribbean movie after World's End, right? The one that came out like right after that.
yeah, I
I
guess.
never. I don't think I've ever actually seen
It's
it.
the one with Penelope Cruz.
Yeah, I think I've seen clips of it, but I never went and saw it because I was so disappointed with how World's End ended. I just gave up on the movies at that point.
See, I only watched that one for Penelope Cruz, and that one had
That's
mermaids.
fair.
I was like, bet, hang on,
Penelope
let's see
Cruz.
what they're
Yeah,
doing with it.
that's totally fair.
And so, but I like the idea that they give off the like Little Mermaid vibes, or not even like the Disney vibes, but not Little Mermaid. It's more Peter Pan. It's like we were just gonna kill her, kind of vibes. And
Mhm.
then, um, uh, yeah. Also in this world, there are like guardian spirits called anchors, and that's Anker. And they guide and protect, and that's based off of a two-headed lion from Egyptian mythology. Um and yeah, basically I need to get my mythology degree. I'm trying to get a
Honestly, that
bachelor's
would
degree
probably
in
be perfect for you.
mythology.
You probably wouldn't even need to study at this point. You just need to go take this stuff and be
Yeah,
done.
I'm gonna try and see what kind of programs I can like just test out of and be like, all right, let's see, I know this and I know this. um because I'm also like, but I do want to know more about um because I'm working on angels and demons also in this world, but
Hmm.
like angels act like cops, and it's trying to
Oh
stop the
no.
yeah, angels are cops. And then there
High
is
five for
like,
religious trauma, making the good guys the bad guys.
hey, it just makes sense that angels are cops. And then
Yeah.
demons are out here just like they fall into the seven deadly sins, and it's specific demons for each sin. And then the reason that they're on Earth right now is because the seals are broken,
Mm.
and basically the whole apocalypse myth with the four horsemen coming in and everything like that. I'm doing my own take on that, which is very bureaucratic. Um,
Yeah, I've
and you
never, I've never,
follow
I've never
like
used the seven deadly sins in any of my campaigns for
liar.
anything.
Oh, bull-faced lie. um, but yeah, so that one follows a Grim Reaper who um is uh it follows the story of this Grim Reaper who eventually becomes a cop. Um, and then this lost soul who was accidentally reaped and then stole something from the from the hereafter is what I call it. And then they brought it back to Earth, which opened the first seal and like kind of is leading to the apocalypse. And they're like, oh fuck. And so they've been trying to fix it ever since.
Mhm.
And all of these are gay and not just gay, they're very
What?
sapphic.
What? No way.
Yes, very much so, because everything I make is gay.
As it
Um,
should be.
yes. So that's yeah. I don't know how much time I have left.
You still
It
have
said a
plenty of
timer.
time. You can keep going. You have
Okay,
plenty of
great.
time. You still have like at least 20 minutes to keep going with this.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean,
sweet.
I like how your worldbuilding's like evolved with that because I feel like that's the best thing when you're writing a world or writing any type of framework, whether it's for a game or a story or whatever. It's just like, what if I do something based off this idea and then it just snowballs from there? That's like how you know you have something really good that you're invested in. Because like for my system, I wrote maybe like one. It was like, how would this world look if magic is the culture of the world instead of race? Like if magic is what made each of these countries have culture. And I've done so much already for it, and Art called me out. I probably could just publish it now, but I want to dive more into it first.
See, like I should probably write out like how the magic's like I've written out. I should. What I've got to do for this is make them make sense
Hmm.
because I've got notes and everything and how they're written out. I've written pilots for each one of these series, but that really does you can't throw a pilot into a book and be like, yeah, now you get it, right?
Hmm.
Um, so writing out the rules and everything, um, because there's also a game like because I had a really weird dream once a long time ago, where I woke up in this game world and it was the Little Mermaid meets Tron. Um, and
Interesting.
yeah, so it's Triton Industries versus Ursula Inc. Um, yep. And they create this virtual reality landscape called Ariel. It becomes infected by a virus, and whoever logs in just gets trapped there. I'm pretty sure I got this off of Dot Hack Sign. Um,
Yeah, that tracks.
um, and uh, yeah, so you as like it's a very first person because that was my dream. You're a player and you enter the world, or you enter Ariel, and because that's the acronym for the game, and you're like confronted with a bunch of Erics, which are corrupted players, um, and there's like this AI like system called Morgana, and she releases a Vanessa virus. I went really hard on all of the tie-ins to the Little Mermaid.
I love it so much.
But the virtual reality before that drama happens in game, that system is like how some of my characters from my werewolf world communicate with characters from my um mermaid world,
Hmm.
and they're just like friends online and like they
What?
hang
Friends
out.
online? That's a thing? Who would do such a thing?
I know they'll never meet in person, but
And they'll never really know that that person's so much shorter than they expected.
you know what? I'm not sensitive about my
It's
height.
okay.
I am not.
I love a short king.
So does everybody. Um, I give tall energy. It's fine. But yeah, so it's like I have these four ideas that I've been cooking, um, kind of individually, and then I found a way for them to all mesh together.
Hmm.
Um, and I guess for me, is like trying to figure out a format in which to in which to best explore these worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because what I'm like, I've made it again. Like, so for my werewolf thing, I've figured out how I can turn it into a comic book. I figured out how I can make it animated. I don't have money for any of these things,
You know,
which
it
is
might be a
why I
dope
figured it out.
way to start it off because it wouldn't really cost you really too much to get it started. Maybe like a voiceover type thing, where you have like a recorded show type situation might
I
be.
have that actually. It's called Howl the Podcast.
Yeah, so
Feel
you
free to
could,
check it out.
yeah, so you could use that to like really dive into the four different roles. I feel like if you just keep expanding that and bring that, you can even bring people on to be like important persons and write scripts and all this, what you love to do anyway, to start script writing a fuck ton and bringing people on and shit.
See, my thing with that though is that when I produce the podcast, or it's not really a podcast, it's an audio play.
Yeah.
Is that what we call it? Yeah. So it's How the Podcast if you're interested in any of this. Um, and we produced 12 episodes, and we've got 12 behind the scenes episodes.
Hmm.
Um, but that was expensive because I wanted to pay people for their time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um, and that was back when I was making too much money that I didn't know what to deal with. And also, it was the middle of a pandemic, so I wanted to do something.
Hmm.
Um, I don't have that kind of money anymore, and it's no longer a pandemic. Well, it is, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not a
Um,
quarantine at least.
it's not quarantine anymore, so I actually have to work for a living. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah, not
I've
very
been trying to.
demure, not very modest at all.
I am not demure. But where I'm at is trying to get all of this written out in a book that makes sense.
Hmm.
And format it out. I've kind of started on some of it. Because I've got lore that goes back eons for my werewolves, and I've even got false histories and like, because my hunters, I know I mentioned them, but I never really got into them. There are people who are blessed with like a birthmark of Orion.
Hmm.
They are marked that way because they are the chosen one. So it's just a whole family that is like on this earth to protect it from darkness. And then there are zealots who follow them and took all of those teachings and kind of kicked it up to the extreme.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Um, yeah, as one does. I'm not basing that off of any major religion.
Yeah, I don't know what you could be talking about at all. Oh yeah.
But like anybody with a belief system, it kind of just there are people who take it too far. And then so I've got all of that. I've got that international. It's not just this little branch, it's like all over the world.
Hmm.
And I've come up with myths and stories that they've kind of passed down through their people, and then the myths and stories of the on the wolf side of it where they've passed it down through their people, and where they overlap what is true, what is false narrative. Because I love the idea of history changing the narrative. Um, is like what that's why I love Nimona, that movie.
Yeah, I've been told
Because
the amount of times I've been told to cosplay Nimona at this point.
yo, my partner, Ren, they cosplayed Nimona and they got so many compliments. They worked so hard on it.
That's so dope.
And they looked really good. I did Ballaster because,
Of course you did.
well, I mean, I already had the longsword, I already
Hmm.
had the hoodie. All I needed was a fake mustache. I looked good. Anyway,
I love that for
um,
you.
yeah, no, so that's basically my opus. That's going to be the one big mark I leave on this planet. Once I ever get it finished, it's gonna get out to the world somehow. I'm hopping back into it. Um, because I made huge strides on it for a while, and then it
Hmm.
kind of died off because life got in the way. Um, but now I'm getting more settled, and I'm like, okay, This is also the second day in a row that I got to talk about it.
I
So
love this for you. Yeah, but a real like a book series of that sounds like dope. Cause it sounds like you have so much lore already fleshed out. You've all these different interconnecting worlds, so you could even have different main characters if you really wanted to tackle it that way. And kind of
yeah,
jump. You could
no,
kind of be
I
similar to how the what Percy Jackson, not the original Percy Jackson, was the Heroes of Olympus ones, where they were jumping in
okay.
between point of views.
Yeah, the problem with book series is that I actually have to sit down and write the
Mm-hmm.
damn thing.
Yep.
So,
I get it. I get it, Bestie. The
yeah.
amount of data up here compared to what I actually put down on paper or on the computer is not equivalent.
See, and I haven't written uh like narratively in a good long minute.
Mm-hmm.
I've been I went from narrative writing to script writing, and I got rid of a lot of details in
Yeah.
script writing because you've only got so much space on a page, and you're like, all
Oh,
right,
I get it. Yeah,
fill in the
I feel like
details.
my GM style needs to get more narrative because that's always the thing I struggle with is like just like setting the scene, describing like more of the like stuff that affects your senses more than just the actual like dialogue and just the improv stuff that I do. But yeah, it's I feel like yeah, writing a book you need to describe so much more detail around the setting and the area compared to like yeah when you do a script because then like script stuff like they'll set that in the actual scene. So
Yeah. See, I want to start. I want to like. I'm trying to find a writing group that'll help me get back in the mindset of narrative writing, but I don't
hmm
really have time to look for it or know where to look. So, um, is where I'm at with that. But yeah, if I ever get off my butt and figure out how to write this novel or like write this thing out, you'll definitely be one of my beta readers.
Oh, 100%. I will dive right into that. I need to read more in general. Like I have a book list too. Like I have the amount of different lists of stuff that I need to consume on my phone. It's so bad.
Okay, so my girlfriend got me um the Battle of the Frogs and the Mice,
hmm
which is basically the Iliad told by like a kid.
Hmm.
Um, it's really cute, and also like why? And then there's also Perception Check by Astrid Knight, which I'm
I
reading.
think that one's on my list because someone had told me about that before. I'm reading. Let me see if I can find it because I
I
haven't
just
read
know
it.
it's
I haven't
weird,
read it
so
in
I
a
was like,
few
fuck
weeks, so
it.
I'm pretty sure it's far down in my downloads at this point. But my one friend Serene gave me a book series that she's reading that I've been reading. Um, I can't find it. Actually, let me just go to the book app. That would probably be the smarter play because then it should just be in my reads. Man, I looked up a lot of PDFs since last night just put Jesus Christ. Yeah, there it is. The Cruel Prince. It's the first in a book series about like some it's like a fae romance book, I'm pretty sure, is the gist of
Okay.
it. But yeah, I need to read more. So when I read, I'll read a ton at one time. But then if I stop, going back to that book later is the problem.
Yeah, I do audiobooks because um that's how I can get through work.
That's her.
Like I'm sitting there in a dish pit and I'm just sitting there like, okay, let me just listen because I don't have to flip pages or nothing. It's just like, all
Yeah.
right.
I can only do audiobooks or podcasts when I am driving. That's the only time I can consume them. Because if I'm doing anything else, it becomes background noise, and I don't pay enough attention to what's going on until I just have to rewind it.
Mm. See, when I get like I do it to fall asleep sometimes.
Mm,
And then whenever I do it to fall asleep and I know I'm not paying attention, I just with the app that I have, I can set a timer for the end of the chapter. So once it hits the end of the chapter, I'm not missing that much. I'll
Mm-hmm.
just go back into the chapter and be like, all right, what part do I remember? Oh, there I am. And then just move on from there.
That's fair. But yeah, so where do you think you're gonna jump back into all of this whole world that you've completed? It's how I know it's been a bit, but where do you think you're gonna
Um,
pick up from?
well, I have people who are interested in playing a game in
Hmm.
this world, and I've worked on a couple of
What
one
system would
shot.
you use for it?
See, that's the thing. I know I can make it in D&D because I've done it.
Hmm.
Um, I know I can do it in Monster Hearts, but it doesn't fit that. I think I might be, and like I've also ran it with Monster of the Week.
You know what this means? You
Um,
just gotta make your own system.
look, that's fine. I can do it. It's just a lot of work. Um,
I get it. I've been working on mine for probably like 6, 7 months now, and I still haven't even dove into the lore too much yet.
well, I see. I'm the opposite. I can do lore. I just don't know what mechanics I would use.
Yeah,
And if I
that
like,
makes sense.
because I like thinking of it as a video game.
Hmm.
Um, and if I do that, then I like I'm trying to see how multiple people can take part in it. Because I'm pretty sure I can make this like a solo adventure, and that'd be interesting. But I don't want to do that. Like
No, it's
I
fair.
like collaborative storytelling, so
Yeah, me too.
it's for me it's better when there's multiple people and you can get like player input as well,
Yeah,
which is what I like about games. It's just like I've got this sandbox and I'm trying to see what parts of it are my story and
hmm,
then what parts of it are just like these are tent poles of my sandbox.
exactly. I mean, that's why I'm doing my game the way I'm doing it before I release it. I'm like, I am gonna have four of you to help me flesh out so much of the lore that I don't have to flesh out. You'll have like the premise that I've come up with for these places and these races and these magics and all this stuff, but like you'll have a country you're from that's one scroll of magic. You'll have a scroll of magic that you learn because you don't have the same one if you're going to the academy. You have your race, and then you have like your family. So that's already so much lore you're building out just from your character alone and their backstory. So like it's gonna be great. I'm not even excited for the actual streams of it. I'm more excited just for our little writer sessions we're gonna have in between. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I love sessions. Um, unrelated because we were talking about building games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There is a store around here that's called Backyards and Basements. And I made a joke to my person yesterday
Mm-hmm.
about that sounds like a Backyardigans version of D&D. And now I want to build that game.
Do
I
it.
don't know how I
Do
would do
it.
it. I
It'd be so
literally
great.
only have the idea,
Fucking
but
backyard again. That's such a callback.
the Backyardigans version of D&D. And I'm like, damn it, that's going to be fun.
I could see you easily put that together. It'd be so dope.
Yeah, I just got to figure out again the system, or unless I'm making the system, and I'm like, crap.
Yeah, I mean, all my system is just it's some of the storyteller stuff, it's some of the Powered by Apocalypse stuff, and then it's just like a bunch of tweets that I've added of my own to like mesh it all together. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but you'll figure it
I
out.
just gotta think.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. But yeah, I think that's about it. Um, but thank you for coming on. This is the second time I've dragged you on a podcast, so I appreciate you answering some of this. I know you've answered probably some of this stuff before for me forever ago.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot's changed since then,
that
and
is
then some things
obviously.
stay the same.
Yeah, obviously a lot has changed since that. But yeah, before I let you go, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you? Tell them any projects you're in or you're working on that you want to promo. This will go out in September, so that helps time frame wise.
Okay, so, um, right. Hi everybody. I am Casper the NB Ghost OCO, and you can find me everywhere at Casper the NB Ghost. I am going to be in a oh wow, there's so much stuff. I've got Dragon Con coming up if you're gonna be there. Love to see you. Um I'm in Andrea's Adventures, but I don't know when that's happening. I'm in a White Sands actual play on Enchanting Sorcerers Sorcery Productions. Um, I'm a builder on somebody's heroes. I was in Castleton. And every Tuesday and Thursday, you can find me on Tabletop Tiddies running random shit. As far as stuff I want to promote, running or being in random shit. As far as stuff I want to promote, I'm starting to stream on my own channel again. It's going to be Casper DNB Ghost. I'm starting to write more games and put them up on my itch. Um, I would also love tips on Ko-fi, like everything important. You can find me at Casper DNB Ghost. That's Casper DANB Ghost. And
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll have all of Casper's links and stuff in the podcast and YouTube descriptions for sure. But yeah, this has been another episode of On the Same Page, Lord Out with Friends. You can listen, obviously, anywhere on Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, and if I can figure out how to get pre-records on the Switch, then Twitch as well. Um,
I know how you can do that. And if you're already on Spotify, you can definitely check out Howl the podcast.
yes, definitely go check out How the Podcast. They know Catherine was lord about for a good half an hour. So yeah, go check it out so you can hear some of it for yourself before they eventually write their award-winning novel series in the future.
Yeah, no pressure there.
But with that, we will let you guys go and see you next time.
Wado.